The Rental is a new horror from Dave Franco, and he does for Airbnb and Verbo what Jaws did for the ocean. Two couples rent an oceanside house for a celebratory weekend that turns out to be way more than they gambled for. This is Dave Franco's feature film directorial debut, and he comes out of the gate swinging. I mean, this is a taut, efficient thriller with some horror aspects to it. It's a small cast. We have Alison Brie, Dan Stevens, Jeremy Allen White, Sheila Vand, and Toby Huss. First off, the shooting of this film is just beautiful to watch. I mean, it is framed so well. The cinematography is done really well, and not what I would expect from a first-time feature director out of the gate. I mean, it was high quality, and I just loved the expansive shots, the up-close shots, and what it did is it just put us in to kind of an eerie feeling, almost from the very beginning. We have some shots of a car driving, and it had moments that it reminded me a little bit of the beginning of The Shining. I don't think it was meant to be that way, but it reminded me of that, but it was so beautifully shot, beautifully framed. And with these great shots, it sets up scenes of intimacy, just with our characters. And that really helps because at the core of this is really a relationship drama that has just some thrilling aspects to it. Now, I said it's efficient because it's only an hour and a half long. And so Dave Franco is able to pack in a bunch into that short time, but not have all kinds of extraneous information and extraneous stuff that we don't need just added in there as fluff. Admittedly, there's not a lot of character development that we get, so we don't get to know all of these people's backstories, except we get enough, I believe, through lines of dialogue, where just as the characters are having conversations and they give you small clues as to the insight of what's going on in others' minds. So we couple what we hear about somebody as their observation of another person, and then we take that and match that with what we're seeing of that person's character, and it really does begin to develop a well-rounded picture for us so that we can judge each of our characters, and we can feel, okay, am I going to sympathize with them? Am I going to empathize? Am I just not going to like them? Am I going to keep them at arm's distance? All of this really works because even though we don't have a ton of that character development where we spend time going back into each other's pasts or looking at each character in detail, the dialogue does that for us if we're paying attention. The relationship drama of this is also what ups the thrill moments. It just puts some anticipation, some like, something's not quite right there. I feel something bad coming, but I don't know what it's going to be. Is it just me because I am uncomfortable with the tense situation that's going on, and maybe that's all that is, or is there something more? And I wouldn't call this a slow burn because it is steady from the very get-go. I mean, we see the relationships as they are, and even for me, I misjudged a relationship right off the bat because it was not what I thought it was. And what that does is that sets up more drama and more tension for later on down the film. But as each moment passes and each character makes decisions that affect everybody else, it really then amps up just that anxiety that you begin to feel. Now, this being a horror thriller, there aren't jump scares in it, which I really appreciate. Now, we have little movements in the background, maybe tricks of the eye, shadowy things that, ooh, did I really see that? Or is that just, something that it's just a trick of the camera? What's going on? And it sucked me in. And there are moments where the camera just sits and it allows us to really dive in, like you focus in, like I was leaning towards the TV a little bit more because I just was like, am I supposed to see something? Is there anything there? And then, ooh, wait, am I hearing something? What is that? All of that worked to just draw me into the film. And so that when the thrilling parts came, it was like, ooh. For me, probably the only disappointing moment in this film is just because part of the premise is shared by at least one other film. So it's not wholly original. But what I do like on this one is that it really focuses on our couples that are in the house. It's their relationships and their conversations and their interactions that is really driving a lot of the urgency, the tension, just the uncomfortableness that we're feeling, which then allows for when things kind of go weird for it to really just send chills down you. I ended up having a lot of fun with this one. It definitely is creepy, and especially because there is an air of realism to it, which, you know, really, like I said at the very beginning, it might kind of ruin part of the Airbnb or Vrbo business, because at least you're going to be just a little hesitant as you go into somebody else's home. If you are renting even a hotel, and there's so many movies out there of just weird stuff going on and just gnarly places and gnarly situations where it's outside of your own home. I mean, gosh, is this just going to create agoraphobia in all of us? But either way, it's $6.99 to rent right now on on-demand platforms, and I think it's totally worth it. I mean, it is a lot of fun. It's quick watch. It's only an hour and a half, but it's worth the sit down to get some good thrills and chills. There's sex but no nudity, a lot of profanity, and some brutal violence. I give the rental 4 out of 5 couches. I've never used Airbnb or Vrbo yet. I had one planned for in the fall, but as things are, that got canceled. So, but have you ever done that? Do you use that, or do you use it often? Is it something that you really like or enjoy and can really recommend? Or is it something like, no, I'd rather stay in a hotel? Either way, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.